The Entrepreneur Inside by Jeff Powell. One of my first memories is of watching TV news footage of American soldiers in Vietnam. I was probably only 4, but I have a distinct recollection of wanting to somehow help those guys. Now, all these years later, as a disabled veteran, I'm dedicated to helping every man and woman who has proudly served our country to find peace and prosperity when they return home, especially when they come home unable to do some of the things they could do before they left. I also want to share with these heroes the philosophy I live by. No matter what kind of adversity life hands us, when it comes to luck, we make our own. I know something about luck and the lack of it. My life has had some very good times, but there were many rough days, and some that were downright horrifying. It was around the age of 9 when life became particularly difficult for me. My father was murdered, and I ended up living with my grandmother in a tough neighborhood. My father's murderer was caught and sent to prison, but the death of my father forced me to grow up fast. I didn't handle it well. By the time I was 16, I'd transferred from one school to another and gotten into more than my fair share of trouble. But then, something happened that changed the course of my life. One day, trying to get into a new school, I found myself sitting in the assistant principal's office. We had just started to talk when she was called out of her office to help a student who had started choking. I followed her, and because of CPR training that I had undergone in ROTC, I was able to help save the student's life. It was an eye-opening experience for me. I would never have thought I was capable of doing something so important. For my efforts, I received the ROTC Medal of Heroism and a letter from the state governor. And my journey down the bad road was stopped right then. A couple of years later, I was tested again. The man who murdered my father had been released from prison and had moved into my neighborhood. One snowy day, I saw him on the street. He'd locked his keys in his car. I decided to help, and I came out of my house with a coat hanger. I helped him get his car unlocked, and after doing so, we noticed that his tire was flat. I offered to change his tire as well. The man had no idea who I was, or what my connection to him was. While I wanted to tell him, and ask him why he did such a terrible thing to my father, I kept quiet. I'd done what I thought was right for this man, the same that I would have done for anyone. By not confronting him when I had the chance, I knew I had put behind me the worst thing that had ever happened to me. I had forgiven this man. That freed me from the hatred I'd carried with me for most of my life. Years later, I went on to proudly serve in the United States Navy. However, I became disabled during my last muster at Port Hueneme. Upon my discharge, my commanding officer asked me to continue supporting our fellow veterans. "Sir, yes, sir," I responded. "I will do my best." Initially, I wasn't able to keep my promise. After my discharge, I lost my way. I even ended up homeless. With the help of the Department of Veterans Affairs, I was able to figure things out. I learned how important it is to have supportive and caring mentors. In 2008, I started Online Verified Veteran Supporter, a site dedicated to supporting veterans in their need. I wanted to show other veterans how to help themselves by learning simple things like how to search for jobs and what to do if they became homeless. I even took my idea to the Department of Veterans Affairs, where the focus of my goals was to bring people together, including business owners, veterans, and elected officials, to help promote ways that inspire people to help other people. It's been more than 14 years since I accepted my CO's request, and since then, I've dedicated my free time to supporting our veterans, doing things I wouldn't have thought myself capable when I started. Even during some of the tougher times in my life, my passion was to support the VA and my fellow veterans. In the course of this, I've become an entrepreneur, and what I've discovered is that I've had everything I need for success inside of me the whole time. You have it too. And if there's one other thing that I've learned, it's that there's no time like the present for someone to put his God-given entrepreneurial talents into action. Are you ready to get started? If so, did you know that just by turning on your computer, you could be taking your first step towards owning a business? Technology has made it possible. With your laptop, a connection to the internet, and the guts to make it happen, you can change your world. Today could be a turning point. When you run your own business, you make your own decisions, you take your own risks, you make your own rewards, and you'll stretch your potential beyond what you ever imagined. The fact is, with the possibilities of the internet, the work world is shifting. In one direction are lowered expectations and plenty of burger flipping. In the other is the independence and control that can come from business ownership. Which future is yours? In today's digital age, many of those who once waited for instructions are now giving them instead. Your new dream isn't about following someone else's orders. It's about vision, action, and the commitment to doing whatever it takes to do the things you want to do, to be your own person. But there's more to it than just wishing for it. Wishful thinking alone will not achieve success. Success is attracted by putting your ideas and concepts into action. So what ideas do you have? If you can't think of a good idea for business, here are a few questions to help you get started and get the mind thinking. What inspires you? If you could do anything, what would it be? What do you do exceptionally well? Are there products or services that you've looked for but couldn't find? Can you think of an underserved market? Maybe the military community? Is there something that frustrates you and you know you could do it better? Is there something that's missing in your community that you could provide? Do you have skills that you could use in a non-traditional way? There's an idea for a business in there somewhere. The key is to make sure your business idea is different, something unique that's unavailable or hard to find. If you can't find any competition, you may be onto something. But even if there is competition, you can surely find a way to separate yourself from the pack. Find that one thing that sets you apart that others will find valuable. Have you already figured it out? Write it down. Write it in 100 words or less. This will help you crystallize it in your mind. It'll make your business idea more tangible and real. Seeing your idea in print will give you motivation. If you need a little more inspiration, there are plenty of online resources available. Subscribe to the Springwise.com blog for your daily fix of entrepreneurial ideas. Springwise scans the world for unique and innovative business ventures like the bicycle made from cardboard and the plastic brick that can save millions of gallons of water per year. Check out the fundraising sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo.com. You're not after a Me Too product, but you might find some inspiration. You'll also see how some really creative people are presenting their businesses. There's much to be learned by the success of others. All in all, remember this. Your business idea has to be something that'll make people stop and take notice. But of course, it doesn't end with an idea. That's just where it begins. The next step is marketing your idea. And contrary to what most people think, marketing isn't complicated or mysterious. We market ourselves all our lives. You did it every time you were transferred and wanted to find new friends. You do it whenever you meet somebody for the first time. Marketing your company means doing the same kind of thing. Building relationships with people who want to hear from you, hang out with you, and see the value in knowing you. The key is to find the group of people who are looking for what you have, the people who want to meet you and your company. Then you gain their trust and demonstrate the value of doing business with you. This means first going to where your customers are and then listening to their reaction to your product or service idea and gaining important knowledge from their opinions. Think for a moment as to where you might find your customers. Facebook, eBay, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, the Reddit bulletin boards, the coffee shop downtown, a trade show, a network meeting you found on Meetup, the gym where you work out. The places to meet your customers are almost endless. You don't need an expensive advertising campaign. Just go to where the buyers are. Make a list of the top 5 places your potential customers are waiting for you. Then find a way to go meet them. In this day and age, we are infinitely connected. Remember to be patient. Building relationships with customers is probably going to take you some time. You can't barge into the room and try to take over. It's not about hitting the audience in the face with your product or idea. It's about getting involved in their conversations and getting them to think of you. It's about demonstrating how valuable it would be to know you because you have something important to offer. It's often word of mouth. Think about some ways you can get people to notice you. Your ultimate goal, converting strangers into customers and making them so happy they'll insist that everyone they know do business with you too. Nothing builds a company better than referrals. If happy customers refer you to their friends, and their friends refer you to their friends, a business can grow geometrically. At that point, you'll build an unstoppable momentum. Remember that people like a story. Don't just be a nameless, faceless company with a new product. Be a person with a new product and a story behind it. Be you. Have you overcome adversity? Did your military service teach you something profound? Do you have a you won't believe this tale about how you discovered your product? It wasn't easy to get where you are. Be proud of your journey and tell others about it. Be memorable. Your drive and your passion will ultimately lead you to success. I can't teach you those things, but my guess is that if you're reading this book, you're already the kind of person who's driven to succeed. The rest is mere detail. The right idea marketed to the right people. This is all within you right now. It's just a question of having it come to the surface. I did it, and I have no special magical gifts or talents. I shared with you my story, so you could see that I had nothing more to start with than you have right now. Just a passion for helping veterans and a little dedication to figuring out the best way to do that. To develop my idea and connect with the right people. And before I knew it, my ideas became wonderful hobbies right before my very eyes. I discovered an entrepreneur within me, and I'm certain there's one inside of you